$7 million?
Yeah, over $7 million last school year.
And a previous school year. That's one school district. And then those dollars, importantly, can be put back into the classroom and save critical programs right where they're needed most. So it's a win-win all over. What I like about it, too, is the involvement of the parents in the program.
Yes.
They are a key component. After all, who knows about the child better than mom and dad?
Right.
They can really provide wonderful, important insights. Now, of course, we're excited about it, but we've also heard from educators who have implemented it. And we have documented so much information about kids who then become successful, but also the cost savings. And Kristin, you visited, I believe, one school district in Livonia.
I
and
did.
of course they were leaders too. From the late 1970s on, they utilized Dr. Bill Morse's expertise. He was a consultant to them. Tell us a little bit about your visit to Garfield and who you met with and what they shared with you.
Okay, like you said, I went to Garfield Elementary in Livonia, and I met with the building principal, who's Mr. Green, and then all of the specialists and the teachers that are involved in the program, the school psychologists and the speech therapists and all of those that are implementing this program and doing this program. I believe they're in their second year at Garfield. And the day I was there, they were having their progress meeting. They were discussing the strides they'd made throughout the school year and setting goals for the following school year and looking back at the goals they set for themselves at the beginning of the school year and just discussing where they could improve, what's working, what's not. And it was a great, it was a great experience to be there and to see them and see how excited they were and dedicated they were to this program. And they just really felt like it was right. They were doing what was right for these kids. They were making so much progress with the students, and it was more effective use of their money, and it was just great. And it was very neat to hear, too, some of the little programs that they came up with on their own, that they didn't, obviously in consultation with Dr. Sorensen, he has his ideas, but they'd created their own little programs to help with gross motor skill development or to help with fine motor skill development. And they created programs also to get parents involved. So it was incredible to me, we've been advocating for it for so long up here, but to go down there and see them, telling me, who I'm already convinced, they're like, no, you have to make this happen. It's a great program, and they just feel like it's a more effective way to do their job and a better expense of their money.
And I saw similar kind of results and excitement when I visited a Redford school, Bowman Elementary School, and they were doing the same kind of wrap-up at the year's end. They had Dr. Sorensen with them. He had been their consultant for the past year and guided them through the practice and the procedures necessary to make the program work. And I have to give special accolades to Susan Stanley, who is the principal of Bowman Elementary School. First and foremost, because funding for schools are limited. And she could have stopped the program because dollars need to go in other services for children, at-risk funding, reading programs, and so on. But because she believes so strongly in the Save the Children program, she consistently kept this program alive. The people that I met with that day, 4 or 5 specialists, regular ed teacher, I believe a speech and language therapist, maybe a social worker was there. All of them together reviewed the progress that had been made that year and documented it. I think to a person, to a teacher, the reason they are so committed to this kind of a program is because they see it work. They see a child come in at the start of the year, maybe just a little bit behind for some reason. Yeah, it could be a physical reason like a hearing problem, you know, a child who constantly gets colds and runny noses may have some fluid in their ears, and it could be taken care of, case closed. Or it could be something more, a fine motor problem, perceptual problem. Maybe some things are going on at home. You know, these are tough times right now, and some families have seen some loss of income. Maybe one of the parents lost a job, and it creates stress on the whole family. And sometimes children react to that. A lot of times they do. So if we can get a handle on what it is, then we can intervene positively and get the kid on the road to more success. So we've had the documentation, a lot of it, plus real life stories. And we now have implemented just, within the last couple of weeks, an amendment to the school aid budget, supported by the chair of our Appropriations Committee, Senator Ron Jelenic, a colleague of mine who started in the legislature with me way back in 1997. He's now chair of Appropriations and a former teacher. So I think we have a very good chance of seeing this now signed into law by the governor, because it's not taking any new funding, not taking money away from anything. It's money there that the ISDs have and can utilize in a positive way. So if this comes to fruition, I think, my friends, we will be going around the state, meeting with ISD superintendents and principals, and sharing the benefits of this program and getting involved. If there's one legacy I would like to leave this state, it would be to see this kind of a program implemented so that truly every child will reach his or her full potential and not have the stigma of failure to have to deal with.
I couldn't agree more.
So along those lines, we are involved with budget. That's why we're doing this program today from Lansing, because I'm immediately going to go over to session. And in all fairness, to try and get our arms around a budget that has been difficult. I want to particularly focus on the education budget, just to give our viewers a sense of how our state legislature and the legislators have consistently protected education funding. And can you give us a little rundown of what we have done? I know that when we lowered the income tax, for example, and I was so intimately involved in that, we held the schools harmless, that they would not lose any funding.
That's right.
And most everyone knows that about 73% of the school aid fund comes from the sales tax. And that has been dwindling as people have had to be more watchful of every single dollar. Nevertheless, we have taken strides to protect funding.